yes, Stephen and I would love to come to dinner. Why don't you give us a ring and we'll arrange something.
Patricia?
Excuse me. Thank you, Jill. You're a lifesaver.
No, I don't know. I think you're doing very well.
It's not easy.
Mrs. Morel, excuse me, please.
Hello, Mrs. Pike. How lovely to see you.
Yes, hello, Jill. Look, I was just talking to some of the ladies, and we were wondering if you would be interested in joining the CWA.
Ah, yes, well, I haven't really given it much thought, actually.
I'll leave you to it.
We can understand you're not joining when you were married to Mr. Hamilton. Well, you weren't permanent on Mumbai then, were you? You used to spend a lot of your time in Sydney.
Yes.
Well, so now that you're staying on, there's no reason why you...
But look, why don't you leave it with me? I'll think about it and let you know what I've decided.
It's a very worthwhile organisation.
Yes, I realise that. Excuse me.
Certainly.
Trying to recruit you for a Leamington drive, was she?
Excuse me, Mrs. Pike.
Hello, darling. You enjoying the party?
Very much. How about you?
Yes, I'm glad you talked me into it now.
Yes. Excuse me. Nice to see you again, too. Don't worry about this.
I suppose the boss chased him off with a shotgun, eh?
I'm sorry?
Terry, he disappeared sort of sudden, didn't he? Eh? I can't blame Mr. Morel, though. Can't have been much fun having his missus throwing herself at one of the hired hands, eh?
What?
You know what I'm talking about. You saw them together at the waterhole, same as me.
Were you there?
Yeah, I was on the other side. I was going to go for a swim, but then I saw the way those two were carrying on, and you coming down the track. Well, didn't want anyone to think I was pervert, eh, did I?
What did you see?
Oh, fair go. Now, come on, Terry got marched, didn't he? What's the story?
Well, I wasn't sure what was going on when I got there, and I wasn't sure who was more interested in who. I thought it was Terry.
Oh, that's not the way I saw it. It's as keen as mustard, that Mrs. Morel. Still, it's not the thing you talk to a lady about, is it?
No. But I'd like to hear more, and I'll tell you all about what happened to Terry, too. It's a bit crowded in here. Why don't you go and wait for me in the office? I'll be there in a minute, okay?
Right.
Wayne, can I talk to you for a minute?
Sure.
I think I can prove that Patricia was lying about Terry.
How?
Come with me. Ron, you know Mr. Morel.
Yeah, g'day, Mr. Morel. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Now, I want you to tell us exactly what you saw.
What are you talking about?
Well, just tell Wayne what you saw with Mrs. Morel and Terry. I think he should know.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean.
Well, the story you just told me about Terry and Mrs. Morel.
What story?
Well, you just said the way she was throwing herself at him.
I never said nothing like that. Look, I'll just come in here for a quiet smoke. Excuse me, I'll just get back to the party. See you later, Mr. Morel. Bye.
He just told me he saw the whole thing. Wait here.
Yes, hello.
Ron,
I told
why
you.
say one thing to me
Look, do you know what would happen to me if I told one of the bosses that story? I'd lose my job,
That's
what.
ridiculous.
Do you reckon? Look, I know what it's like to be out of work. It took me more than a year to find this job, and it's a darn good one. There's no way I'm going to risk it.
Yeah, what about Terry? He's supposed to be a mate of yours, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he lost his job because Mrs. Morel says he attacked her. Now, you can set the record straight and make sure he gets his job back.
Look, if that's what happened, it's rough, but I've got a wife and kids.
Look, I promise you won't lose your job.
You can't guarantee that. Look at Mr. Morel. You can see what he thinks of his wife. There's no way he's going to take my word ahead of hers.
But we can prove it.
Look, all she's got to say is that my story's a load of bull. I'm out in my ear. As far as I'm concerned, I didn't see a thing.
Well, what if Wayne gives a guarantee that there's...
I'm not going to trust his guarantee as far as I can throw it. That mob stick together. Look, I am the one that's going to dip out here. There's nothing surer. Right? Excuse me.
You have to admit he's got a point. We might think Ron could be telling the truth, but Patricia could easily convince Stephen the whole thing's been cooked up by Fiona and Terry's friends.
Well, we'll just have to make him see the truth then, won't we?
Take a bit of doing. Stephen loves her so much he wants to believe her.